Did you know that there was a musical based on Spider-Man? And it's probably the most expensive Broadway musical ever produced. It was also beset with a few problems, let's just say. The show, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, was written by Bono and the Edge of U2 fame, and also featured some incredible stunts, web-slinging, mid-air combat. It officially opened at Foxwoods Theatre in June 2011 and ran until January 2014, although it had had the longest preview period in the history of Broadway, with 182 performances, which was a record at the time. The story follows, perhaps unsurprisingly, the teenage Peter Parker, better known as Spider-Man, as he gets his powers from a radioactive spider bite and begins to date his classmate, Mary Jane Watson. Meanwhile, Norman Osborn, something of a scientist himself, inadvertently causes his wife's death during his experiments and goes insane, transforming into the villainous Green Goblin. Act 2 opens with Green Goblin creating other villains, including big-name Marvel villains Carnage, Electro, Kraven, Lizard, as well as two other villains, Swarm and Swiss Miss. No, I've never heard of her either. Spider-Man defeats the villains, but Green Goblin tells the newspaper editor J. Jonah Jameson that he is responsible for the creation of Spider-Man, making Jameson think that Spider-Man is in league with the Goblin. The show ends with a climactic battle between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin at the Chrysler Building, ending with the Goblin plummeting to his death whilst webbed to a grand piano. Yeah, I never thought I'd say those words either. It wasn't how I thought this show would end. The Broadway cast of the show featured some impressive names. Reeve Carney, who would go on to play Orpheus in Hadestown as Peter Parker, along with fellow Hadestown cast members TV Carpio and Patrick Page. So, must have gone from the same same management or something. And then there were, as I mentioned, some big-name songwriters in Bono and The Edge behind the show's music. However, the show seemed almost cursed from the start, especially with the disasters that followed. An initial opening date of February 2010 was delayed due to a $25 million debt being racked up by 2009, and previews, so not a formal opening, eventually beginning in November 2010, with a new opening date of December 2010, until that was delayed till January 2011, and then February 2011, then March 2011, then summer 2011, which included an almost 1 month shutdown of previews in April and May, with the show finally actually opening in June 2011. At last, the show could begin in earnest. It was a shame that the delays weren't the only problems that the show faced. Most people are probably aware of the Spider-Man musical, if they are at all, because of the injury crisis, which included 6 people being injured in rehearsals and in performances. The situation became so bad that the show was cited by both the New York Labor Department and OSHA. Overall, the show had a budget of $75 million, and although it held a record for a while for box office sales in 1 week, when it closed in 2014, it closed at a massive loss. On top of this, the reception for the show was, by the time of the actual opening, at best, mixed, with the score being criticised and the visuals and Patrick Page as Green Goblin being, quote, for most critics, the best reason to see the show. I'm going to be honest, though, having never seen the show live, I've seen a couple of songs from on YouTube, things like that, and there is a couple I really like, actually, including Rise Above, but I guess that's personal taste. So whilst the show held numerous records, it ended ultimately in failure. Whilst with great power comes great responsibility, with a great budget doesn't always come a great show.